Welcome to Agency Bytes, a podcast for agency owners, hosted by agency veteran and coach Steve Guberman. Agency Bytes is a podcast focused on delivering actionable agency information from agency experts in about 25 minutes. Why 25 minutes? Because who has the attention span for much more these days? And you can squeeze in a listen between meetings with time for a bathroom break or coffee refill before your next meeting.
Welcome to Agency Bytes, a podcast for agency owners. I'm Steve Guberman from Agency Outsight, where I coach agency owners to build the agency of their dreams. Today I'm here with the powerhouse that is Casa Davka, Emily Cohen, and her business partner and daughter, Hunter Vargas. Emily is a consultant, speaker, teacher, author, and Hunter is a marketer, project manager, client partner, and business development manager. And together they probably have far more agency industry experience than anyone I've ever had the pleasure of speaking with. Ladies, I am pumped that you're here. Thank you for joining me. How are you today?
Yeah, good. I always get worried when people say that, like it sounds like I'm old, but I've been doing this for a long time, so yeah.
You started really young. I get it. Yeah.
I won't say my age to help you determine how old she is.
It balances out. It's totally fine. I want to start out really just kind of exploring your recent rebrand. Hunter, you in the past couple of years joined Mom, affectionately called, or Emily, I've known of you in the industry for a very long time, and you've kind of been a solo powerhouse. Your book, a speaker. What brought along the evolution and introduction of the agency name or consultancy name and bringing on Hunter?
Okay. Hunter, why don't you tell the story? Because I'd like to hear your point of view on it.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously I've been involved in my mom's business. Yes, I do call her mom. We had a huge discussion about this when we decided to join forces. We call her Emily, but I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. But I had been working within her business with her clients since high school. Every year, sort of my level of involvement kind of increased. I went to business school. I started getting more involved with her clients. When she wrote her book, Brutally Honest, I helped co-write it, edited it, helped co-art direct the design, did all kind of like logistics of the publishing, ran the Kickstarter campaign, did all the marketing and PR for it. So I've been really involved in the past couple of years. I started working freelance within agencies, and so I started working more freelance for her, getting more and more involved, being on client calls, doing a lot of the strategy work alongside her, being involved in those consultations. And, like everyone, I think I was reflecting on after COVID, like reflecting on what was next. And like we had talked about joining her firm for years, but it never felt like I wanted to make sure I got the experience myself, that I wasn't just, her daughter, that I really knew the industry in my own unique way, not just in her way. And so I finally, I just woke up one day and I'm like, this is it. It's time. And I told her, and I think she was a little bit surprised.
Literally overnight, she calls me and says, I'm ready. I'm like, ready for what?
And we decided what the next step was. And part of that was having a rebrand, because it wasn't just Emily Cohen anymore. We wanted to make sure that I was a part of the company, which I really appreciated. It wasn't just, I was her assistant. I wasn't just there to support. We were really a team and a partnership. And I think that's what we bring to our clients. We bring two perspectives. We bring people who complement each other really well, but also have unique insights and differences. And so it's been, we went through rebrand. We tried naming it ourselves. That was not successful. And so we recruited one of our amazing clients to help us come up with a name that really felt thoughtful and applicable to us. And that's where Casa Davka was born. And we've been working together officially for over a year now. And it's been awesome to really kind of navigate that and navigate a partnership, which is something that all of our clients are doing. So we've been able to bring that new experience to our clients. And same services, more elevated, a little bit different with my kind of more on the ground experience. And we're just bringing that same stuff to our clients. So I don't know if you have anything else to add, Mom. But.
Yeah, I actually do. My husband insisted that we go to therapy together first. So,
Really?
So we're in therapy. Couples therapy.
Because, working with partners is always difficult. And then working with your significant other, and Hunter is my significant other more than my husband is. So, it is, it has been, there's been bumps and stuff, and it's been really great to have somebody else advising us along the way. So, yeah.
I think that's insanely healthy and mature, and probably more business partners should do that before they open an LLC or put a name on the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
I
No,
actually
it's been great.
was talking with a client this morning, and she's going through and wrapping up the ending of a business partnership after 5 years, and kept referring to it as a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had to clarify, like, was this person also your spouse or just your business partner? She said, no,
It
it's just a
feels
business.
very much like a divorce. Yeah.
And think about, how much time we spend with our business partners and the things that we do together. Like, yeah, it's pretty tough and pretty intimate. So I'm sure the results of you guys working together and doing counseling or therapy together, the
Yeah.
impact on your clients has just been immense.
Yeah, our clients, I have to say, my clients have been so welcoming and really, really appreciate Hunter's Insight. More so than I was concerned about it, because there's a lot of ageism in the industry sometimes, and both on my age and her age in some ways.
Sure.
And
Yeah, we experienced at both ends, actually. Recently, we've
Yeah.
experienced at both ends, and we're like,
Yeah.
this is weird.
Yeah. And it's been great because our clients really like to have, we don't always agree on things. And so it used to just be me and me giving advice, but now I love having somebody to balance out ideas and to argue with me and to kind of get to a better place. So it's been really good, I think, and really healthy in a lot of ways. I mean, it definitely has been problematic for my ego a little bit, but I've worked through it.
In therapy.
I love it. A lot of the core services you guys dig into with agencies talks about positioning and relationship building and like the deliberate activities of that, shifting of priorities. And I'm really curious what you've seen. I mean, again, I look to you as somebody that's got so much agency experience. You work with a lot of really great agencies.
Yep.
And I'm curious what you've seen over the past few years as like the shift of biz dev activities, relationship building through COVID, things like that.
Well, we will tell you this, that our clients that did focus on business development didn't only rely on referral-based business, right? Incoming business, but really thought about outbound business, did better during COVID, right?
Sure.
So we are really
And this year, because there's been some bumps, I think, this year in the industry as well. So
yeah, they've seen a real, especially this year, after COVID, post-COVID, they really saw the results of all their efforts. Where our client struggles is when they were only relying on inbound business and referrals. Yeah. So one thing, and we spend a lot of our time consulting our clients on what the best way. And I'm so happy you didn't say business development or sales. You said relationship building, because that's really what we think it is. We don't like to I don't like using the word sales because it immediately makes you think of, car salesmen, and it makes creatives really nervous. And it's not that. It's really about building relationships because, as you probably know, new business takes 2 years to build. From when you meet somebody to when they turn into a client can be up to 2 years. Sometimes it comes immediately and sometimes it takes 10 years, right? So it's a game of patience, and it's about just making sure you're staying in touch with people. And I think creatives, they get really just get so busy with their lives, or they avoid that relationship building like the plague.
What are some of the tactics that you've seen like be more sticky or impactful in recent, like let's say this year, because this year, it's been a challenge to close business this year. So what are some of those tactics you've seen be more effective?
I think before we go into tactics, I think one other thing I just want to kind of expand on, and then we could go like a little bit more. But I also think it's not only about the business development efforts, it's about knowing who you are. That way your business development efforts are targeted. You're not just reaching out to everyone and anyone who needs branding, who needs marketing services, who needs whatever. It's just know who you are, know who your firm is. What are your goals? Like, what is your vision? What types of clients do you want? And by that, we don't just mean like, oh, we want good clients. Of course. Yeah. We want well-behaved clients. No, we want clients that are within, we have an expertise within this industry. And that way you're able to like speak to clients in a certain way that sets you apart from other firms out there. So on top of it's being consistent with your relationship building, with your outreach, but also being targeted in who those people are, whether it's by industry, which is our main recommendation, but by service, by there's different ways of doing it. But really that's where we've seen our clients who are the most successful, to be honest, are the ones that know who they are, they stick by it, they're able to prove it because they're experts, because they have case studies, because they have metrics that speak to their expertise in certain industries. And they're able to bring that to prospects, to connections, and be like, hey, we're the ones you need to choose because here's why. So I think that's also a tactic as well, but it's like it kind of starts there. Know who you are, be consistent with business development, and then we could talk about like what that means.
Yeah. And if you don't know who you are, If you don't know who you are, then you don't know who to go after. So that's the other problem. Is a lot of creatives were like, we want to do all cool stuff. We want to work with all clients. We can do all things. And we're like, yes, we know you can do all things for all people. But clients need to know you're an expert. And without knowing where you are focused, then you don't do business development because you don't know who to go after. So this also gives you a focus for that. So
it's overwhelming, right? Like having a target, like we make them write it down, right? It's like, who are we really trying to go after? We sometimes have, they put it on their website ideally, and it gives you guideposts and boundaries are really helpful for building a business.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the niching down. You referenced recommending niching into an industry over a service. Do you have any thoughts on doubling down on that and niching down into an industry or multiple industries, a couple of verticals, as well as what the services that you provide?
Essentially, our clients, we usually recommend 1 to 3, usually at least 3 different industries that ideally have something all in common, whether it's, some like theme, like hospitality that kind of can cover a lot of different categories. But we really try to get our clients to focus on at least 3 because you never know which one's going to be slow or busy during any given economic turn. So you want to be able to figure that out. And we don't tell them who they are. We usually look at the work and who they already know. A lot of it's just we already are. We already work with a lot of the same clients. We just don't know it. And we want to make sure that we look at the clients we already have, but we also want to look and see what other things do we really want, because we don't want to allow. I always talk about this. Like when clients come to us, we're allowing our contacts to control the direction of their business, whereas we want you to take control of the business. And so figuring out, like, is there a new industry you want to do, right? Do you have contacts in your personal life that you're not leveraging? And so we really try to get our clients to figure out for themselves. We help them and guide them.
So niching down, I mean, what are some other thoughts you have there?
Yeah, I think there's one thing that we always like to tell our clients, and this might be controversial for a lot of you, is that most of our clients will say they do nonprofits or mission or social good. And while we love that and we think it's important because so many firms do that. Okay, I'm sorry, just Hunter's having trouble again. So many of our clients do that. Almost everybody has nonprofit clients, and because designers are good human beings, they care about the world. I understand we want to shape the world, but that no longer can be a specialization unless you further niche down into types of nonprofits that you are experts in. So some of that is really pushing back on our clients and really making them think deeply about who their competition is, because being a branding person or social media or do social good it's too wide a market.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with that, and I see it a lot. Do you think having additional verticals that they are experts in makes sense, or expanding on what kind of not-for-profits they work with makes more sense?
It depends. We really work with each of our clients to try to customize. We want them to feel authentic to themselves. So it really depends on what they want to do, and we push them. That's all.
Gotcha.
So some of our clients, we try to convince them maybe not to, but for the most part, we don't try to convince our clients of anything. They really have to choose themselves. We just help them really think deeply and push them a little bit and give them the pros and cons and make them look at the industry deeply. Who do they know? What we always like to look at, this is the most important thing when you pick an industry, is where does that community gather? Mm-hmm. Can you reach your audience in a particular area, like a conference, publications, online sites, things like that. So we really try to have them do some research, and we also will help them do the research about like where do these people gather, and can you become part of that community?
Yeah, no, I think that's huge. I mean, niching down in an industry allows you to be the expert in that industry, show up at those events, lead the events, be the thought leader, be a speaker. So all of that makes perfect sense. I mean, Hunter, how do you think leveraging niching down allows agencies to really build into those relationships that they're trying to build out? Like from a tactical standpoint.
Yeah, I'm sure my mom spoke to many of the reasons, but I think there's also just a confidence part of it, right? If you can prove and you sound like an expert in the room, clients are going to trust you and they're going to choose you. The industry is very competitive. It's very saturated now. So by having a niche and being able to, as my mom said, to kind of build that community and really know who you are and also know what the client's needs are and what kind of metrics they need to hit and what they're looking for and what their goals are. You're able to speak to that. If you've narrowed down to some industries, you're able to speak to their needs even if they don't even know it. You're able to be much more advisory as opposed to someone who's just doing the work, right? You're able to really look at what they want and make sure you're meeting their goals, and also, maybe recommend new goals or recommend what they really should be doing. And you're able to provide that expertise, and everyone wants an expert.
Yeah. And I mean, you brought up a really good point about like when you're an expert in an industry, you can identify the trends and the kind of the benchmarks that the clients should be working towards. Of here's what we see in the industry this year. You're above or below, or here's what we can target for you. So,
Yeah.
All right. So nail positioning, niching, huge. Now that we've convinced every agency under the sun to own a niche or a vertical, where do they go from there?
So there's many different tactics, right? So obviously I think part of it is community building. So finding out conferences, events, networks within the regions you want to target where your clients are going to be. And it's very important we say clients, because a lot of creatives, they love to go to events. They love to be in person, as we saw by this year. We attended a couple this year and it's been so great to be back in person, but they love to go to like creative events, right? Where you're seeing your friends, you're seeing your colleagues. But really where we want our clients going, what we recommend is they go to places where their clients are, right? Where people that they could potentially, that will be hiring them in the future are, and you want to be presenting and speaking at those sort of events and positioning yourself as the expert and providing your POV on branding, on marketing, on advertising, and why you're an expert in the industry and why that industry needs those types of services. So that's like kind of the high level way of, right? It's just building a network. And when you go to events, when you're part of networks, when you're part of Slack groups, whatever it might be, you're then meeting new people. And you might you're not always meeting prospects, right? Maybe you're meeting a connector who is going to, connect you to someone in the future. So it's just about you want to be known within your client industry as well, not just within the creative industry. So that's part of it. And then from there, you're building your network of people that you're able to reach out to on a constant basis, right? So you're keeping track of people in some sort of CRM tool or spreadsheet. And you're then, and then you're able to like stay in touch with people via email, make sure you're emailing them every once in a while, checking in with them, making sure you're recording personal details on them. Did they just have a baby? Did they just adopt a dog? Did they just launch a product? Like, keeping tabs on people. It's not just about meeting them once, right? It's about keeping those people in some sort of tool, Rolodex, whatever you want to call it, and staying in touch, and not in a way that's like, hey, I have a firm that does this, would love to support you with services. Like, just kind of saying, hey, I also work in this industry. I share your passion for X, Y, and Z. Let's hop on a call and talk, and building more genuine relationships, not just relationships based on transactional ideas. So I'll let my mom kind of jump in and fill in some of the gaps I didn't cover.
I think that's exactly what I would say. I think the other thing that we don't see our clients doing enough of is leveraging the people they already know, right? So a lot of times we work and we're so busy getting the work done that when it's over, we're so happy it's over, we don't stay in touch with that client, until years later. So part of it is really thinking about who do we know, and just making sure you're always staying in touch with them. And that can be through, like Hunter said, we do recommend quarterly emails just to remind people that you're there. Yep. People will forget you all the time. Like every time we send an email blast out, we get 5 new clients because they feel like, and they usually say, I'm so glad your email came at the right time.
It always does, right? Yeah.
So part of that is just sending, it really does. And people just forget about you. No matter how memorable you are and how lovely it is to work with you, they just get busy, right? Or they move around. So part of it's making sure that you make intentional effort to dedicate time to relationship building. Through, whether, like I just spent a week sending emails to everybody I've worked with in the last 5 years just to say hi again.
Yeah.
Because it's really important to remind people that I'm here and that, I still care about them and I'm invested in their growth and their business and that things have changed. And I'd love to talk to them about how they've changed. So it's never, I think what Hunter said is really true. We never say, we want to work with you or we want to talk about your next project because that feels very icky and unauthentic. It's really about just saying, we love your industry. We know about it. We'd love to talk to you about what you see the trends are. or just simply to say hello.
So authentic, regular
Right.
check-ins, authentic communication, authentic understanding. I mean, I'll say that word 1,000 times because I think there's a lot of value in it, so long as it's done properly. Um, I love that Hunter referenced a Rolodex because I feel like so many people just have no idea what the heck an actual Rolodex even is. So I love that. I mean, have you guys seen, obviously this year, 2023 has been a really challenging year for closing new business, building those relationships, mostly on the budget side, mostly on, I want to say on the client side. Um, what are some shifts that you've seen or trends that you've seen that have worked differently or better for building those relationships this year?
I think a little bit they're losing faith in their business a little bit just because it's been harder to close deals, like you mentioned. The clients are taking a much longer time to close deals or to sign on the contract. We think this is going to change in the new year, but a lot of our clients are sort of frustrated by it and not realizing that some of this is just going to be a change that we need to get accustomed to, and also just go with the flow with it. So part of it is a little bit, we have to make sure we're not just relying on, a lot of our clients are relying again on income and business instead of really trying to use this time now to reach out and build new relationships. So I think that's one thing I would say is that is not a great trend, that the clients are taking longer to close deals, but we are seeing, this happens every year at the end of this year anyway. So at the end of every year, it's either people need to use up their budget, or they have used up their budget, or they're thinking about their next year's budget. So don't give up hope and stay in touch with people and really reach out to them again in the new year, because it's really hard to get new business at the end of the year anyway. So I say the first thing is just have a little bit more patience would be, I think, really helpful. Some other trends.
Yeah, I think related to, I'll jump in for quick. Like, I think if we're typically related to like business development, the industry is changing, and I think I think their needs are also changing a little bit. We've seen a lot of our clients really lay into like strategy. Strategy, I think, is becoming more and more important, right? We're not just designing incredibly beautiful things. We have to design it for a reason. Like, what is the strategy behind it? What are our goals? And really, like, clients are just getting more kind of like smarter in that way of they're looking at creative firms and being, okay, like, we know you do incredible work, but like, how is this meeting our goals? So I feel like strategy has become more and more important in terms of like the relationship building sales process. If that's in my perspective, I think that kind of like upfront, just really thinking about who your client is, what they need. And that goes back to the whole being an expert, right? It all kind of ties back. And this is not just a trend this year. This is something I think we've seen over the past couple of years. It just made me think of that.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly valuable, and I think agencies need to lean into starting with strategy, leading with that, and delivering strategy that answers the challenges and the value needs that clients have. So they're not just, like I said, buying pretty pictures. They're buying something or investing in something that's moving a needle, that's meeting a goal, that's answering a challenge that they have. I think that's been an ongoing. Let's do that more. No, let's make pretty things. Let's do that more. No, let's make pretty things. So. I'm glad you pointed that out. I think it's really important.
And I'm not sure if this answers your question, but I did want to talk about this during the podcast, is that we have been doing for years, especially over COVID, have been doing some practices in our industry that have really hurt us generally. And so I think we're really trying to gear our clients to really start practicing better ethical behaviors that not only impact their firm, but impact everybody else that works in this industry. And so I think one of the things we are really trying to push our clients to is really look at those contracts to make sure that the terms favor them as well as their clients, because there's a lot of unfavorable or bad terms that really hurt us, right? We can't promote our work anymore. They want to own everything. They want to work for hire. It's looking at like just not pricing. A lot of us have sacrificed pricing. So one of the things, what happened when COVID hit, because I went through 9/11, a lot of us did. And I saw when 9/11 happened, I know this is old, we lowered our prices and they never went back up. So as soon as COVID hit, we sent an email blast to all our clients and continue to try to tell them, do not lower your prices. Do not lower your prices because they will never go up. And what did everybody do but lower their prices, right? So it's really, this goes back to defining who we are, knowing what our value is. So what we're trying to get our clients to do is really capture metrics and success metrics about how they've helped clients move the needle, not just testimonials about how great it is to work with them, but really what did they do to help their business grow so they can really prove their value and prove their fees.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you work with creatives also, and what we love about the creative industry is we love that people love what they do, right? They're not just doing this to do it. They love what they do. But when people love what they do, they sometimes forget that they're also running a business. And, we exist in the society, and we need to run a business. We need to show the value of design that fully exists, right? Maybe it's harder to quantify than something else, some other sort of whatever, but it is quantifiable, and we need to think about how we're showcasing the value of design. That way we can ask for and we can demand what we deserve in terms of prices, which, trickles down to employee salaries, which trickles down to employee work-life balance. It trickles down to, how we run our businesses. So we really and all of our clients are on board with this, absolutely. But we really want to make sure that, we are in the business of running businesses, and we want to be good people, and we want to be fair to everyone, not just our clients. We want to be fair to our employees. We want to be fair to our competitors. We want to be in this together and really be thinking about our businesses as competitive businesses, but also as, a community, as an industry that has an importance to the world and makes a difference in other people's businesses. And then we should also be, commanding fees and commanding respect and commanding good behavior from clients, commanding good terms from our clients, commanding what we deserve.
And not working for free.
Not working, yeah, no spec.
I'm having a real problem with a lot of the leaders in our industry still do work for free because they want cool work on their portfolio. So they have big name clients and big companies that they work for, and they think that's financially sustainable. So they volunteer to donate their services to a lot of nonprofits and cultural institutions when that work is billable to other firms. So we're stealing work away from small firms that really depend on that. And so I think we're all practicing. We should be stopping practicing these things, like every one of us. And so, again, that's not so much a trend, but we're trying to force it to be a trend, is to start thinking about these things a little bit more.
Well, it's in line
because
with,
I think that'll make us healthy for the future. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think because you're pushing for, if it falls under the bucket of ethical alignment with contracts and pricing and work-life balance and all of these things, then to your point, these larger firms are taking billable hours out of the smaller firms' pockets, or whatever you want to call it, because they're doing free work. So I love that emphasis. You also talk a lot about kind of the work-life balance shift and the shift of priorities. I think we saw a big push for that through COVID. I assume you're still seeing that. I know I am. What are you seeing in that space?
Yeah, definitely is an issue. Hunter, do you want to speak about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think work-life balance, I think luckily in our industry, it's been a topic before COVID. So I think in some ways we were prepared for this shift, because this isn't something we've been talking to our clients about 4-day work weeks, remote work for years. Yeah. I think it's something that our industry is always, that maybe the tech industry has always kind of been more at the forefront of. And I think so I think now it's just people are really kind of laying down the law, actually being hey, this is actually something we want to do. We just talked to a client the other day who's we really have been thinking about a 4-day work week. Here's what we're thinking, here's how we think it would work. And I think it's kind of goes back to the business of running a business in the sense of we want to still love what we do, but we want to set some boundaries around that in terms of making sure that we leave work at the office, that we love what we do a great job, we provide quality expert work to our clients, and then we go home at a decent hour to whatever our lifestyles are. And, we find ways that work for everyone. Are people who work in industry come from all backgrounds. And so, some people can't work the 9 to 5 normal hours because they have kids or they have pets or they have family they have to take care of. And so we like to really work with our clients to think about maybe there's ways outside of the tradition that actually might work really well for your team, right? Maybe if someone really works, maybe if working in the weekends better, maybe that's great for you because you're able to have someone to do some coverage before Monday. So that's not something I know your clients have done, but it's an example. I think there's so many ways to be flexible to how work is done, as long as the work is done and we're communicating everything to our clients, that timelines are still very clear, that we're available when we tell the clients we're available and not available when we tell the clients we're not available. And so I think it's just I think our industry is more open to that. And so we're excited to see our clients kind of talk more about even like creatively. So I'm excited because that's something that really is interested to me because that's something that's super important to me.
Yeah. I think also while our clients somewhat were prepared, it's different now because it used to be 1 or 2 employees working virtually or, as a distributed team. Now it's our entire teams. So we really helped navigate how do you still build culture and build
culture.
Culture and reallocating money that you had towards rent towards retreats. What do retreats look like? How do we inspire a team? How do we still have collaboration and shared communications without having a zillion Zoom meetings all day long that burn out your team, right? So we spent a lot of time just talking about effective meeting strategies because that is something that people still need to practice. And so I think we help them. I think our clients are just refining how they work virtually. But what's been great about this moment, and I think what all our clients have found fantastic, is now we have access to creative talent all over the country, all over the world.
Yes.
All the world, yeah.
Yeah. And so before we were limited to our location, and that was very limiting and very competitive. Now we have access to this amazing creative talent out there. We also are challenged because nobody wants a full-time job anymore. So we have building a lot more contracting relationships. So there's some things. And I will tell you, honestly, Hunter and I have different views on this that I've even struggled with. Like, I'm a workaholic. Not that Hunter isn't, but I work nights, weekends, and she has forced me to learn not to work on the weekends because it's unhealthy. And if I work on the weekends, she feels like she has to work on the weekends. Although
I don't. I don't feel like I have to work on the weekends.
I wish she felt that way. So, it's been something that I've been struggling with because I am one of those people that work all the time. And
you were. I don't think you are anymore.
No, but
that's
because I've changed because of you, right? And I think some of our clients are having trouble with that shift. They don't have a you pushing. We're trying to.
Well, they're not having trouble with our shift. They're having internal struggles with their own shift.
Exactly.
Our shift isn't affecting our business.
I think a lot of that has got to be generational. I mean, the last agency I was at, the leadership, the 2 owners were 50s and 60s, and the oldest guy. His mindset was, if you're not in the office from 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever, I don't think that you're working. But I built out a creative and digital team, and we worked remotely, not fully, but enough. And the work got done. This was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then, through COVID, all of my agencies I would say 95% of the agencies that I work with are fully remote. They work the hours they need to work to get the work done. Some of them, and this is like some of the greatest satisfaction I have with working with agencies, I have an agency in Colorado and an agency in California, and when the surf is strong, they don't work, and when the snow is wet, they don't work. You know what I mean? Like,
that's my life here.
Around the things that are of value to you. So why not? And to your point, like if you work better nights and weekends, then do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think just to add to that, I think what we realized, some of our clients maybe were a little bit more hesitant or a little bit more afraid during COVID when everyone went remote, and to continue that after COVID. Obviously during COVID, that was an absolute necessary, but even after COVID, I think what they realized is there was just trusting your team. It's kind of trust and control, right? And by trusting your team and by building a team that you do trust and seeing who maybe in your team you don't trust, you're able to build a really strong team that's ultimately going to produce a better work culture, even when you're not in person, that's ultimately going to produce better quality work, probably in a shorter amount of time, because you trust them, because it's like a relationship, right? If you trust someone, there's going to be better communication, there's going to be better output, there's going to be better results. And so I think, like, while, maybe some of our clients were a little bit like, oh, I'm worried about this. Once they saw that it could work with the right people, they're now building teams that are much more deliberate, that are very much meeting the needs that they want in terms of what they want in terms of building a team. So I feel like that's a big part and I think that just results in so many other benefits outside of people being able to work remotely and having better work-life balances. It results in benefits to the business, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Did you see the work suffer?
Because you said, if they want to surf, they surf.
Exactly. Yeah. Did you see the work suffer or dip at all in the beginning of that as they were trying to work out the kinks?
Absolutely no. And in fact, a lot of the team actually stepped up to the plate and surprised our clients. Like, they didn't trust their team as much as they thought they did. And they were really worried about them working virtually. And then all of a sudden they saw that their team was trustable. They saw they stepped up to the plate. And in fact, they saw them more productive and had stronger morale. So, our clients just had to let things go a little bit. We always tell people stop being fuddy-duddies, and like the world changes constantly. Like I love change. This is one of my favorite things. I love when things change. This is what I love about our industry. And some creatives just like get stuck in the past or stuck in a way of working, and you constantly have to evolve. That's why we always look at everybody's business every year. Like, what's changing? What's growing? How do we grow? We have to go with the flow. We have to, industry changes all the time. Our clients change.
And I think, to be honest, like we work with some incredible clients. Like all of our clients are incredible. Lucky. And we have some clients who have some of the best workplace culture. I've worked in some pretty toxic agencies. I have that experience. I know what it's like from the inside. And those are the agencies that definitely struggled during COVID in terms of the output of work, in terms of trust, because there was already that toxicity breeding, right? If you have a good work culture in person, you're going to have a good work culture remotely because you've built that, because some of the strongest teams we know are remote because they have this, it's already embedded in the culture, and not in ways, we're not talking about like the standard culture ways, like not even just retreats, right? There's trust, there's transparency, there's ownership, there's clarity, there's role clarity, there's the deeper things, the business side of things almost that go into building culture, that I think when people think culture, they're like, oh, free lunch on Fridays, right? That sort of experience, right? Yeah. But like, and I know this sounds a little bit outdated, but that's what it was before COVID, was free lunch on Fridays. But the people that really succeeded in building a culture now and during COVID, they weren't doing that stuff. They had clear job descriptions. They had performance reviews that were usable, that were actually providing results. They had check-ins, they had transparency in terms of budgets and financials. I'm not saying all of these things, but they had the core elements that breeded a good culture, and that's going to stick whether you're in an office or in 10 countries. That's going to be there, 10 time zones. So it just feels like, it's like same with almost positioning and being an expert. It's like if you set this bigger foundation, everything that's the result of it is going to be so much greater for your business.
Oh, I love the way you said that.
I think what happened. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. No, that just nailed it for me. Go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, that was really great. One thing I think that happened during the COVID period was it exasperated all the things that were broken within our companies, right? So it made us really force our clients to look at themselves deeply and realize that maybe clients aren't first, and culture is more important, and their team is more important, and their viability and sustainability is more important, and not to be always so client pleasing. So I think a lot of it I think it was a great moment in our industry. I think we needed to go through this to kind of shake us up.
I agree. Yeah, and I think the results have been astounding, positive and negative, but all in all, really positive.
Yeah.
Look,
there's some firms that did close during COVID.
Yeah.
There were some firms that struggled.
Yeah.
It's business.
It's business.
Unfortunately.
And we're too saturated. There's too many of us. There's not enough work for the amount of design firms out there. And part of it is that we have to, realize we're in it. This is a business. This is not just fun.
Yeah. Although
as much as we'd like it to be.
It should be fun.
What we do is fun. We love it.
We love what we do. And we find the ones that are doing really great are the ones who really love their job, but they also focus on their business.
Yeah. And I think because they're creatives, and I think this is a commonality, many of them didn't go to business school, certainly didn't go, if they went to school, it's for art or design or, film or something along those lines. And so, we get to kind of help guide them into how do you treat this like a business? Like Hunter said earlier, it's a competitive thing. You've got to put your business mind on, you've got to, treat your employees fairly. And Emily, like you said, ethically, and bring all that into contracts and, fighting for the good of the agency. And, I think there's a lot to it, and you guys have an awesome opportunity to help them.
Yeah. What I also love is I think the trend is that while the universities have a lot to teach students, there's so much more to teach than there used to be. They are focusing a little bit more on the business of design as well. So I like that trend too, that educators are a little bit starting to focus on the business of design. I wish they did more of it, but at least we're starting to educate the next generation about the value of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are more resources out there, right? It's like a generational thing, I think.
Yeah. I was say I'm okay with the schools not doing it because it gives us opportunity to have clients.
Yeah.
There you go.
But
I think it's good. Clients. I would say our clients have gotten smarter, and I think as a result, our work has gotten more interesting. It's gotten more we really get to dive into challenges that aren't just like, okay, well, do this. It's like, okay, like, how can we really think about your business in a way that's like not just solving today's problem, but looking at the opportunities you have in front of you for 5-10 years? Like, I think there's something really, like, I come from a business background, so it's really fun to like entangle sort of like these deeper, not just challenges, but opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's not just like grow your business. Let's like really think about how you want to grow your business. What does that look like for your staff? What does that look like for you personally, professionally? What does that look like in so many different ways? I think it's an exciting opportunity to kind of just like be more collaborative also with our clients. Like, we love being collaborative with our clients. We want to hear what our clients can say, because sometimes all the time we come up with the best ideas with our clients.
Yeah, that's one thing
we come up with great ideas without them, but we come with the best ones with them.
Yeah. I think that's the thing I love, is that our clients are all brilliant and they have such great, interesting best practices that we're able to then, leverage and share with everybody, while still being confidential. So working with us, you get the benefit of all those other best practices that we've either created or helped develop or have learned from our clients. And that's really great opportunity too.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of your sessions, because I'm sure that's just pure brilliance, just pouring everywhere. So I want to shift gears real quick and just throw a couple of rapid fire questions at you each. The answers to any of these can be personal, business, digital, physical, and you'll understand that when I ask the questions. And we'll do like each of you can answer.
I'm nervous.
So the first one's super simple. What's a book or something that you're binging, a podcast or a show or a hobby even, that you just can't get enough of now? And we'll start with
Hunter. No, we're going to say the same thing.
We are. It's normal.
Are we going to say the same thing? Normal Gossip. There's a podcast. It's called Normal Gossip, and it's amazing. It's just she actually recommended it to me, so maybe you should tell what it's about.
Yeah. So for me, I've been really wrapped up in how screwed up the world is right now, and I'm so down a lot of times about that. So I found this podcast that's just very lighthearted and fun, and it features gossip about like regular human beings in a story-like format, and it's like women in people in a room gossiping, and it's so like it's super like lighthearted, but really,
like not mean. It's just like very like what you'd experience every day. And I'm living in a small town right now, so I get a lot of that on my day to day. I'm always like, ask my friend, what's the cheese night? What's the gossip today? Because there's always something new happening, and it's like this podcast.
And the other thing is both of us read so rapidly, and we read a lot of books.
Yeah,
we have actually a family competition about who reads most books at the end of the year usually, and it's always my husband who wins, but he's retired.
In second place.
Hunter's always in second place. So reading is just one thing that we do all the time.
I love it. Learning and absorbing. Yeah. What is a tool that you have recently integrated into your life, again, digital, physical, personal, business, that you look back and you're like, how the heck did I survive without this thing in my life? Go ahead, Mom. You lead off.
Physical fitness.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one for you.
So I have not taken care of my body. And as I'm getting older, I realize that my body is saying, hey, what's going on? So I have been working out like a mad woman, and I have a personal trainer, and I am loving it. I hate the exhaustion and the pain, but I have to say that's changed my life. It really has gotten rid of some stress. It's made me feel better about myself and about the world, and I wish I did it sooner. I mean, I've done yoga forever, and I've done other things, and I'm a big hiker, but I have never really done like weightlifting, and so for me, that's been a huge change for me.
That's interesting, because I've also been in yoga for like 20 years, and I just started going to the gym like 2 months ago. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, Hunter. Awesome. What's yours?
And I'm still doing yoga. Like, I can't stop.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like a non-answer, but like boundaries, like it sounds very like, but like I think these past couple of years have really made me have just made me feel like I've just been setting very clear boundaries and communicating them and having discussions around them, both in work and in life, for, whether my mom likes it or not, both personally and professionally. Setting boundaries has been something that has been, and more communicating them, not just like, I know my boundaries, but communicating them and being clear on them and following them myself has been just a wonderful tool in the past couple of years for me. And I think it's driven a lot of my decisions in the past couple of years.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a great answer. So final question, and we'll start with Hunter. What is an invaluable piece of business advice that you can share with anybody who's listening?
Oh man,
Ooh, the one piece.
invaluable piece of business advice. I guess something like you got to make. This is gonna. It sounds so obvious, but like I think something we've been talking a lot about, my mom and I, is I'm a perfectionist and I'm pretty good at lots of things. And I think, stepping into this role as a consultant is new for me, and you have to just kind of like jump right in. And sometimes you're going to make mistakes, and sometimes you're not going to remember what to say in the right moment, and being okay with that and just kind of moving forward and work with great people who are cool with that. And you just got to do it sometimes and really, go for it and have the confidence and not, and just be thoughtful, I guess. I don't know. I feel like my mom might have a better answer.
Yeah, no.
I think that's great.
No, I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
See, again, there's no perfect answer, Hunter. I'm going to give a very, very specific, practical answer, although I agree with Hunter. I think it's capturing, the one thing you can do that would change your business is capture metrics. Like really ask your clients, how did I change your world? How did I affect your business? And that's going to make a huge difference in so many ways. It's going to build your confidence. It's going to be able to be a story you can tell. It's a better way to sell. It's going to increase your win rate. So to me, that's like the one thing that no one's doing, or very few people doing it and doing it well. So I would recommend that, and the industry as overall, we need to start capturing, like, how did we help you? Like, what would I always say this, at the very beginning of a relationship, ask the client, how do you measure success and when? 2 simple questions. How do you measure success and when? And then the when is really important. You put it in your calendar, you call them, and you say, how did it go?
I love it.
And I'm going to add one other piece of advice, because I think this is good, because some of our clients help with it. Just go ahead and do something. Like a lot of our clients have lots of excuses. Oh, I need to redesign my website. I need to write a list of everyone I know first before I could reach out to anyone. No, just do it. Like just people love to come up with excuses, and the more excuses you come up with, the less you're going to do. So just do it. You don't need everything to be, all the tools to be there. You don't need to be perfect. Just go ahead.
Yeah, mostly we hear our clients say, well, as soon as I do my website, then I'll do new business. I'm like, how long does it take you to do your website? 2 years. Well, you can't wait.
The industry is going to change. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't wait. Just do it.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Ladies, I'm going to wrap up there, and I'm going to thank you from the bottom of my heart so much. I'm just so immensely grateful for your time and for navigating the technical challenges and for sharing your expertise and your industry knowledge with us. So thank you so much.
Thanks again for tuning in to Agency Bytes. If you know someone with expert knowledge on a topic that agency owners would love to hear about, go to agencyoutsight.com/podcast-guest and nominate them.